The hidden bond, the dark brotherhood of Freemasonry and Satanism. Some secrets are passed down only from one generation to the next, and some names are never erased from the dusty pages of history, because they are part of a tradition, a brotherhood. But perhaps this is not just a brotherhood. Perhaps it is part of something much bigger, something far darker. The year is 1720. A group of men gathers in a basement hidden from prying eyes in the misty streets of London. The decisions made that night will change the world, but no one will know, because this brotherhood will grow in the shadows. Freemasonry. According to official records, it is a system built on enlightenment, wisdom, and fraternity. However, throughout history, many have claimed that its true purpose is something entirely different. Some believed it was merely an elite gathering, but others spoke of something far more terrifying, a ritual, a secret ceremony, and most importantly, an entity. In 1767, a priest found a document in the cellar of his church. The document stated that when Freemasons reached the 33rd degree, they were no longer just human. At that point, it was believed they had become something else. But how did this transformation take place? And more importantly, whom or what were they serving? According to some claims, Freemasonry was merely a doorway. Those who passed through it believed they were enlightening themselves with the light. But the real question is, was the light they sought truly illumination? Or was it merely a reflection of a much greater darkness? The year is 1924. A man was found dead by the river in Paris. His name was Francois Duvalier. He was a historian. His research focused on the connection between Masonic rituals and Satanic symbols. There were no signs of injury on his body, but under ultraviolet light, his skin was covered in symbols. Some said it was an ancient language, but no one could decipher its meaning. Or perhaps those who did never spoke. Throughout history, many have questioned whether there is a link between Freemasonry and Satanism. Official sources have dismissed these claims, but documents, witnesses, and missing researchers all point to the same conclusion. If this were just a rumor, then why has everyone who tried to investigate it been silenced in one way or another? No one knows for sure. But some believe that those who reach the highest degrees of Freemasonry are not just interested in ruling over people. They're after something else. And some rituals are not just ceremonies. They're a call. So who answers this call? In this video, we will uncover the truths that have been hidden for centuries. But be careful, because those who learn such secrets sometimes can never be the same again. The roots of Freemasonry, the Knights Templar, and dark rituals. It all began with a group of warriors. They were called the Knights Templar. In the 12th century, they were said to have gathered in Jerusalem to protect the Holy Land. But some claimed they were not just warriors, because the Templars were known not only for their swords, but also for a dark secret. The year is 1307, France. King Philip IV had begun to fear the growing power of the Knights Templar. He accused them of worshiping the devil, branding them as a cursed order. But the real question was, if the Templars were merely soldiers, why were they accused of performing heretical rituals? And why did the king try to wipe them out overnight? According to some accounts, the Templars conducted secret ceremonies, practicing dark magic and mystical rites. Witnesses claimed they had sworn themselves into the service of the devil. But were these accusations just a political move? Or were they only a small glimpse of the real truth? The Templars were destroyed, but their secrets did not vanish. The survivors retreated into the shadows. They returned under a new identity. Over the centuries, this new order became known by a different name. Now, they were called the Freemasons. But according to some claims, the secrets of the Templars were passed down to the highest ranks of Freemasonry. And those ancient rituals never truly disappeared. Some sources suggest that even today, at the highest degrees of Freemasonry, the old Templar ceremonies continue. And through these rituals, not just knowledge, but power is gained. But where does this power come from? Rumors suggest that some Templars made a mystical discovery in Jerusalem. Deep within the Holy Land, they are believed to have made contact with an ancient entity. It granted them knowledge, but at a terrible cost. Were these rituals truly meant for enlightenment, or were they performed in worship of something else? Throughout history, those who asked this question all met the same fate. They disappeared. They were forgotten. But the secrets are still here. Do you dare open this door? Masonic rituals and satanic symbols. Some symbols are everywhere, yet their true meanings remain hidden, because these symbols speak only to those who understand them. The eye, the compass, the square. All of them are parts of Masonic teachings, but according to some, these symbols do not merely carry philosophical meanings. They are pieces of a language that is much older, much darker. Freemasonry is known for its initiation rituals. A newly inducted member is expected to see himself as a traveler on the path to enlightenment. But certain ancient documents suggest that these rituals are more than just a form of education, because with every step, one thing is repeatedly mentioned. A name, a hidden entity. In some Masonic rituals, the initiate is blindfolded, a rope is placed around their neck, and they are forced to kneel before an altar. In that moment, they are asked a single question: are you ready to seek the light? But is this light truly illumination? Some ancient Masonic texts indicate that the word light refers to a specific entity. Documents from the 19th century claim that those who reach the highest degrees of Freemasonry embrace the light of Lucifer. But is this just a metaphor? Or is it truly an oath of allegiance? At this point, the similarities between Masonic symbols and satanic figures become impossible to ignore. The most well-known of these, Baphomet, a half-goat, half-human figure with one hand pointing up and the other pointing down. To some, this represents duality, but to others, its presence in Masonic temples is no coincidence, because Baphomet is not just a symbol. It is something that is summoned. During certain Masonic ceremonies, oaths are sworn upon a sacred book, but which book it is can vary, and the power in whose name the oath is sworn is not always the same. It is said that Freemasons who reach the 33rd degree must undergo a special ritual. In this ritual, prayers are recited in an ancient language, and in the final moment, the blindfolded initiate opens their eyes to find a mirror before them. But some do not only see themselves in the reflection. Mysterious deaths, vanished researchers, silenced witnesses, they all point to the same conclusion. Is Freemasonry truly just a brotherhood? Or is it the modern reflection of an ancient worship? 33rd degree and the blessing of Lucifer. Some secrets are like doors that should never be opened. Those who dare to peek inside either disappear or are silenced. Hidden within the dusty pages of history are truths known only to a select few. And Freemasonry, one of the oldest organizations in existence, has always existed in the shadows of these secrets. Are they wise men seeking enlightenment? Or are they servants of an unknown force, holding the fate of humanity in their hands? Freemasonry is not just a brotherhood. On the surface, it appears to be a group engaged in philosophy, charity, and self-improvement. But beneath the surface, there lies a deeper knowledge, revealed only to a select few. To attain this knowledge, one must rise through the degrees, and the greatest secret is revealed only to those who reach the highest rank, the 33rd degree. Those who attain this level are no longer ordinary men. They are the ones who have met the true source of wisdom and power. But where does this power come from? Who or what bestows it upon them? The answers to these questions are hidden within the darkest corners of Masonic teachings. one of the most powerful Masons of the 19th century, Albert Pike, wrote that those who reach the highest level of Freemasonry attain true enlightenment. According to him, the 33rd degree Masons learn the greatest secret of the universe, a secret that is unlike any known religion, a secret that transcends all divine concepts, and this secret is given only to the chosen ones. Certain Masonic texts state that those who reach the 33rd degree undergo a special consecration ceremony. The details of this ritual have been kept hidden for centuries. However, certain leaks in ancient documents shed light on the nature of this ceremony. The ritual begins with the candidate being left alone in a dark room. The only light comes from a single candle before them. In their hands, they hold an ancient text said to contain the greatest secret of humanity. They are asked only one question: do you accept the light? But this light is not what most people think. Some ancient Masonic documents claim that at this stage, the initiate does not simply swear allegiance to a doctrine, but to an actual entity. But who is this entity? Is it truly Lucifer? Or is it something even more ancient, something humanity has feared for centuries? According to rumors, as the ritual progresses, a name is whispered, a name found in ancient texts, belonging to a very old being. Some sources say that once this name is spoken, there is no turning back. The initiate is no longer just human. Their soul now lingers on the thin line between the known and the unknown. In Masonic initiation rituals, candidates frequently encounter symbols of death and rebirth. This represents their departure from their old self and their transition into a new existence. But according to some, the rebirth at the 33rd degree is not just a metaphor, because at this stage, the initiate does not simply gain knowledge. They encounter something real. Some sources claim that at the end of this ritual, the initiate is placed before a mirror. At first, they see only their own reflection, but when certain words are spoken, they do not see just themselves. At that moment, something else is there. Some say this is a moment of illumination, but others claim that in that moment, a shadow appears, one that never leaves. This ritual has never been proven, because those who reach this point do not speak, and those who do either vanish or lose their minds. Researchers who have studied the lives of 33rd degree Masons noticed a disturbing pattern. At some point, they all withdrew from society. Many of them fell into an unexplained silence. Are they burdened by the weight of what they know? Or are they serving a force without even realizing it? Some doors, once open, can never be closed, and some eyes, once they see, can never look the same again. They are watching you. Satanic Freemasons in the modern world. The modern world seems to advance under the light of technology and science. Humanity appears to have left behind superstitions and mystical rituals from the past, but some shadows still persist. Just beneath the surface, ancient teachings have adapted to the modern world and continue to thrive. At the intersection of Freemasonry and Satanism, it's claimed that these teachings are not just remnants of the past, but have grown even stronger today. Satanic Freemasons, a structure mentioned in the darkest corners of conspiracy theories. According to them, the world is not only governed by the visible leaders, but by the true masters behind the scenes. These masters do not just possess economic or political power. They are followers of an ancient wisdom, a doctrine that claims to liberate mankind. But the question remains, who does it truly serve? So, what is at the heart of these claims? Modern Masonic organizations portray themselves as charitable institutions, claiming to support causes like education, science, arts, and human rights. However, those who have reached the highest degrees of Freemasonry speak of something far different. Was Albert Pike's Lucifer's light simply a misunderstanding of the past? Or does a group still continue to follow this doctrine today? It is well known that many powerful individuals on the world stage are linked to Freemasonry, politicians, businessmen, artists. However, some researchers claim that these groups exist on a level far beyond ordinary Masonic traditions. There are accusations that certain individuals who have reached the 33rd degree are not ordinary Freemasons, but have embraced a much darker teaching. Some ancient documents indicate that certain groups, operating under the banner of Freemasonry, have conducted occult and satanic rituals. Though officially denied, the emergence of secret footage, witness testimonies, and mysterious disappearances seem to strengthen these theories. For example, in the early 20th century, certain secret societies in Europe were reported to have combined Masonic teachings with satanic beliefs in their ceremonies. Some sources claim that these groups have not disappeared, but continue to operate in more secretive forms today. At this point, the question arises, if there are indeed rituals dedicated to Lucifer at the highest echelons of Freemasonry, how are these organizations influencing the balance of the world? Some researchers argue that these groups are not just the keepers of esoteric knowledge, but also centers of power that shape the global order. Their dominance over finance, media, and technology gives them the ability to influence society. But the question is this influence being used to advance humanity? Or is it part of a much deeper and more complex plan? One of the most significant claims about modern satanic Freemasons is their deliberate integration of certain symbols and rituals into popular culture. The eye symbol, Baphomet figure, and specific hand gestures, are these simply aesthetic elements used by the media and art? Or are they part of a larger message being sent? Certain events that occur around the world occasionally bring these theories back to the forefront. Mysterious deaths, disappearing researchers, and silenced journalists make many believe that there is a power behind the scenes, unseen and unknown. What is the truth? Are these groups genuinely trying to establish dominion over the world? Or are these all just stories spun in the shadows of conspiracies? Perhaps some answers are better left unspoken, because once some eyes are opened, they can never close again, and some secrets must remain hidden forever. The common god, Baphomet, throughout history, secret teachings, esoteric symbols, and mystical beliefs have always existed. People created myths and legends to make sense of the unknown. However, some symbols became part of a system far greater and more complex than a single belief. One of these symbols is a figure that has been both feared and revered for centuries, Baphomet. In modern times, Baphomet is often perceived as a satanic entity. However, in reality, this figure has much older and deeper meanings. Some researchers claim that the origins of Baphomet trace back to the Knights Templar. One of the greatest accusations against the Templars in the Middle Ages was their alleged worship of this entity. During the interrogations that followed the 1307 persecution led by King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement V, some knights, under torture, confessed to invoking Baphomet. But what exactly did this name represent? One theory suggests that Baphomet was merely a misunderstanding. The Knights Templar were a group protecting esoteric knowledge they had discovered in Jerusalem, and Baphomet symbolized cosmic wisdom. However, another theory proposes that this figure was not just a symbol, it was an ancient entity called upon in secret rituals. Over time, Baphomet became linked to Freemasonry and occult teachings. In the 19th century, occultist Eliphas Levi famously illustrated Baphomet as a goat-headed, androgynous figure with a human body, one hand pointing up and the other pointing down. According to Levi, this image represented duality in the universe, the balance between light and darkness, good and evil. However, for some, this symbol had a far more sinister meaning. It is claimed that within Freemasonry, initiates who reach the 33rd degree gain access to certain hidden knowledge. Some sources suggest that at this stage, A connection is established between Lucifer's light and Baphomet's wisdom. Baphomet is not considered a god in the traditional sense, but rather a source of power, an esoteric guide. But is it truly just a symbol? Or is it an entity summoned in specific rituals? In modern times, Baphomet has also been associated with Satanism. Groups such as the Satanic Temple view Baphomet as a symbol of freedom and individual will. However, according to older occult teachings, Baphomet is not merely a figure of liberation, but the keyholder of a hidden power within humanity. How has this figure remained so deeply connected to Freemasonry, the Knights Templar, and modern occultism? Is it merely a misunderstanding? Or is it truly an entity worshipped by secret societies? Some researchers claim that powerful secret organizations around the world continue to use Baphomet symbolism. Its frequent appearances in popular culture, art, music videos, and architecture, are these mere coincidences? Or are they messages being deliberately conveyed? The truth is, the origins and meaning of Baphomet remain unsolved. But some claim it is more than just a figure. Some names, once spoken, leave no return, and some entities, once summoned, never truly disappear.